One of the most important things you'll ever do is find a right location for your business. So what we're going to do today is we're going to explore the 5 essential things that you got to know in choosing that right location. Whether you'll succeed or not will depend on these 5 things. Today we're talking about how to find the right location for your business. There are 5 essential principles that you gotta understand before you decide upon which location is going to be best for your business. Let's check them out. The first thing we gotta look at is decide what type of business format or what type of location are you going to need? And there's 4 main things to consider. So first of all, we look at a home-based business. Those are usually going to be the lower startup cost franchises that can be less than a $30,000 investment to get it started. And you can work out of your home, usually no employees. And so what type of location do you really need to look at? Well, you might want to go down into your basement or this side bedroom or whatever, or even kitchen table to start your business. So that's your location choice, and the franchisor will even help you get that started. Another type is the retail business. So those are the ones you see out there in the strip centers, in the malls and other places that have that retail presence. And that can be in the form of food, and it can be service type businesses like haircuts or whatever it is. Those businesses need a physical location. Now that's where it gets a little bit more complicated on what you need to find that location. So if you choose that one, you're going to need some professional help. And of course, that help is readily available for you and to support you to make sure you make that right decision. And there's secrets to shortcuts and things that will help you make that decision that really not a lot of other people have other than true franchise businesses that want to make sure that franchisees succeed. Then there's a third type with the mobile businesses. You've seen food trucks, you've seen other service type businesses that bring the service to your home or to your business. Sometimes dry cleaners will deliver the dry cleaning to a business or even to your home. So it might just be a service type business that has a mobile truck, and that can be every which way, but you still want to look at the demographics surrounding the territory that the franchise would grant to you. So that's an important factor in looking at a mobile type business. And then the fourth way is commercial business space. And that can be in form of a small warehouse where you have maybe an office in front. So you might think about maybe a painting type franchise. They might need to put a truck in back in the warehouse. They might need supplies for the paint and supplies, storage, and a place to meet customers in case customers actually come to the office. So those are the 4 areas. Now let's look at the second thing that's really important to understand about finding that right location. The second thing we need to consider is targeting our customers. Where are our customers going to come from? Know your demographics and psychographics. For example, Dollar General builds their locations in lower income areas, whereas Whole Foods tends to target individuals and families whose income is well above the national average. When we built the powerhouse Massage Envy, one of the things we had behind us is a firm that was able to look at those psychographics, the demographics, and all the different factors that we had to consider to have a successful location. And one of the things we looked at was income per household. So we took the income per household and we took a number of families that we needed to have surrounding that potential location, and we drew a circle around it. How far out were they going to need to come to get their service? Sometimes it was only a 2-mile radius. Other times it might have been a 5-mile radius. But we were able to pinpoint those exact target customers that made that location successful, and you will need to do that too. The third thing we need to think about is to consider the brand, what that brand stands for. Consider the reputation certain locations would carry for your brand. For instance, you probably wouldn't put a hardware store next to a preppy shopping outlet. Likewise, you'll likely want to avoid more dangerous areas of the city, even if commercial property is cheaper there. And so a lot of times we think, oh, it's going to be the most expensive areas that are most important for us to consider. Obviously, the rent and the leasing is much higher there. But I remember representing a brand one time, and it was a cell phone store. And so what they chose to do is go into the lower income areas. And nobody thought about that, because guess what? It doesn't matter what household you go to, they all have cell phones, right? So those markets were underutilized, underserved. And so they put their stores in those very low income areas because those people needed to go get cell phones too. They just happened to offer a little bit different mix and programs for those people. So as you're considering the product that you have and the brand that you have, it doesn't necessarily have to be in high-end stuff all the time. It can be in various income areas. So number 4 is to consider the recruiting efforts. If your business requires employees, you'll want to consider transportation routes and proximity to the population in dense areas. For example, it can be hard to recruit employees at a remote gas station, even though customers may pass through that space frequently. You think about ski resorts that are surrounding us where we live here, and it's difficult sometimes to get those right employees to drive all the way up to the canyon or all the way up to the ski resort, maybe an hour or more away. So the important thing there and the secret to consider is to look at other similar type businesses. How are they recruiting? Like it might be a clothing store, it might be a food place or whatever. How are they getting their employees? You can actually go in and talk to them and figure that out. That's some of the simplest ways to figure out how to recruit employees is talk to other business owners. And so those are things to consider as you're looking at those types of areas that are far away, because those aren't necessarily the best areas and the most high-end areas. Number 5 is to search for the competition in the area. Now, you may want to consider whether there's a low amount of competition or a high amount of competition. Search for locations where you consider that competition and your product or service is still in high demand. Conversely, you might consider areas where other businesses on the block are complementary. For example, a gym near a smoothie bar. But when it comes down to it and you think about all the competition in the area, some people think, oh, I don't want to be near anything similar. I don't want to be near anything close to what I'm doing. Sometimes that thinking is not the right thinking. For example, McDonald's and Burger King, the big boys, right? They're right across the street from each other in some cases. And then here comes along Dave Thomas with Wendy's years later, and he's thinking, where do I go? They're all good, all the locations are taking. Well, what he did, and people warned against this, he went right across the street from McDonald's and Burger King. So there's a hamburger place on 3 corners. And what happened? McDonald's sales increased, Burger King sales increased, and Wendy's succeeded because they were right in front of that. I look at some of the medical services type businesses that we have today. You know what I want to do with my franchises and what I've been successful at? I want to go right across the street from someone else because you know what? I have the advantage as a franchise company. Franchise companies do have that advantage and over a lot of the simplified independent type businesses. So I like competition myself. Now, the key thing as we talked about here is your product or services needs to be in high demand. So in some cases, you may want to look at where there's lower competition, and there'll be help to help you find that right location because it's all about a lot of the demographics and psychographics and things that are around there. But those income areas and other things that need to be considered are essential to finding that right successful location and succeeding in a business of your own. When you acquire a franchise, the franchise company will do most of the work for you. Finding that perfect location can be difficult and time-consuming, yet by some measures, it's perhaps the most important factor to the success of your business. When you buy into a franchise, they support you and go the extra mile by providing data that would never be available to discover through your own research. And why do you think that is? It's because they already have proven locations. You buy into a franchise because there's a success system, there's support, there's people that have already done it. And so they're able to take those demographics, the psychographics, and all the different measures for success and plug them in. Now, the thing that the franchise company will do for you is help with real estate expertise. They will get someone that will help you find the location, look at the data behind it, look at the lease, look at how the lease is negotiated, and not let you make a bad decision. In some cases, they'll even negotiate free rent for you, which you couldn't necessarily do on your own. So franchise companies will save you a lot of time and effort and heartache by helping you to find that right location. To be able to open up a franchise location successfully, you have to know how to pick that location. and there are mentors and people available with expertise above and beyond anything that I've ever seen in our company. So click the link below, and one of our experts, one of our advisors will help you find a location and choose the right way for you to succeed in a business of your own. Thanks for watching this important information about choosing the right location. Please don't forget to subscribe to this and click the link below to watch the next video.